I said I can tell you this story.
Yeah, you can tell me the story for
I
sure.
don't, I don't need the whole audience. I only need three people.
I know what you mean.
Hey, why you why you think it's so like your space is so your mind is so like it's the light quick. You gotta help me with the lighting then.
You gotta get some good lighting.
What are you using?
Well, it's really the office lighting.
Huh?
Yeah, it's the office lighting.
Mm.
It's looking good over here.
Man, it look good over there, man. You shine.
No,
You must I don't know, you having a good day or something?
I do what?
You must have are you having a good day?
I'm definitely having a good day. For the most part, I can't
It's
complain.
there today. You
Really?
really shining today though.
Shut up.
I'm trying to tell you. I don't know what's going on over there.
Up.
Everything blending into?
Oh, that's good. That's a good
Yeah, that's
thing.
good.
That's good.
It's probably coming around all this misery and mayhem over here on this side of town.
Hey, it's the same. It's the same over here.
They just shot a 16-year-old girl in the chin
In the chin. Where?
over there by Popeyes.
Wow. Wow. There's been a lot of that.
Yeah, it has been. It has been.
This happened tonight.
About 5 o'clock, mom came calling and hollering, screaming and stuff.
Excuse me. Excuse my language. She called and was so was somebody that you knew?
Yeah, long time family from the projects.
Mm,
Um, dad's in jail, you know. Guys can be the perfect fathers and brothers and cousins and nephews and community builders while they're in prison. And somewhere we're losing them by the time they get out. By the time they're in there to the time they get out, we're losing them somewhere. And they don't have that same desire they had when they were locked down.
mm-hmm.
And sometimes they continue while you're on probation too. They still have they move as long as the man got their finger on top of their forehead. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how come they can't move um, without having authoritative figure on top of you like that.
Right.
Right?
So do you think that it's because the environments that they come home to and the situations that they come home to?
So with the program that I have with with the state and the work that I'm doing now, the one thing I try to do is look at how can you create a playing field so that those guys can be successful, right? So how do you have enough soil around them, rich soil, right? Because soil come bad soil, rich soil, that you
Mm-hmm.
have enough rich soil around them that when you plant them in there, all they can do is grow. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta
Mm-hmm.
actually like uproot yourself and throw yourself in some trash in order for you not to grow. So my thing is the first thing I try to do is I always try to get all of them $20 to $25 an hour jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I try to make sure they have benefits. And some people ask, well, why are you trying to do that? And you got to keep in mind that the work that I do is all structured around structural inequities.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to realize that we've been birthed into structural inequities. If you look at Wilmington, even Newcastle, down Newcastle Avenue, go through South Bridge, go through the East Side, travel Governor Prince, right? All them areas right there are high cancer clusters.
Mm-hmm.
Got the highest diabetes rate, the highest cholesterol rates, the highest high blood pressure rates. We got like houses with lead in them. We have all these things inside of our communities, and we're just birthed into it. So we already starting behind, and then we got failing schools.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that 5 years ago, our schools, we're talking about the inner city schools, which less than 3% of them are occupied by white students. No white student is bused into the city,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of black kids are bused out there into the white neighborhoods. And inside these schools, they were reading and writing at a 12% proficiency.
Oh wow.
So people don't understand what that means sometimes. And I'm saying they're saying that 88% of our kids are not reading at their grade level. They're not doing math at their grade level. And when you are researching, you're a scientist, you realize that the Department of Correction use this right here as a benchmark or how many bids is going to be needed in the future,
Mhm.
because they know that there's a direct relationship between you not finishing school and people going to jail, especially black and brown men. And so my thing is that, so how can I get these guys to really focus on how can you like regain that spirit that you had when you was a drug dealer and everybody was calling your name,
That
right?
same drive.
Yeah, and all that though, but that self identity is important. You know, like when you're the big man and you come into the basketball game, everybody looking at you and they calling your name, and you know, you see people whispering and they looking over there to see who you come in because you got your Gucci on,
Mhm.
you know, because you know a lot of our people are label whores. So they go there, they got their Gucci on, you know, their Ferragamo shoes on, they got their furs on, and everybody know you, right? So you're recognized. So how do we get them to, or how do we rebirth them? And what I found the way to do that is that, well, the first thing I look for in guys coming home is that, do they have the lived experience? Are these people inside of our who knows their neighborhood, right? So I got to have a guy who is hungry, a guy who is hungry, a guy who is know what it's like to have people suffer from different phenomena such as HIV, drug use, uh, alcoholism, all the things that plague us, mental health, right? You really got to live the experience in order to appreciate people who are in those positions. And the other thing is that you got to have social capital. So you got to have that relationship. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? Like the relationship that you have, that I have, that other folks have in the community, that um, even when we show up in the toughest places in the city, the first thing they say is, hey man, get him a pass. Let him go. That's a friend. He's not a foe. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Even if you show up with the police, they're gonna say, they'll put a good spin on it. He must be saying something to them to get us
Right.
off. You see what I'm saying? But you gotta have that social capital. If you don't have that kind of social capital, you can't do it. And
Mhm.
the last one is sweat equity, because a lot of the roads that you and I are paving now, we might not see the fruits of it.
Mhm.
We might not really see the fruits of it. Like, and I'm saying, and the jobs that we get people, the experience that we help people gain, we might not see the fruits of that. But what I do know is that it was our ancestors who came before us who laid or who covered up some of the pit holes, right? The potholes, so that I can make it a little farther. So it's my job is to put another layer of tar on it so that our next generation can go a little bit higher. Because
Mhm.
I believe that success really should be judged by how well you move along with that next generation of folks. You know what I'm saying? So when I came up, tell you a quick story. When I came up, I was a high school All-American basketball player in Delaware. I was ranked like 21 in the whole country. And 11th grade, people were taking the SATs. And I went to my uncle, right? My uncle Mike Chambers, call him Pipe, right? I went to him, I said, I need to get some money so that I can take the SAT so I can go to college. And my uncle, who loved me, he loved me. He said, our family don't go to college. And he didn't say it because um, he didn't care about me, he wanted me to fail. But his circle of knowledge, that's all he knew. He said, we go to GM, we go to Chrysler, we go to the hospital, we work for the city. And that's where we retired from. So right after that, I never took the SAT and I got locked up. And I called him. And he told me everything I needed to do for bail, for his who to work out for, who to talk to for the counselor to get me out, and how probation worked. Like that was his circle of knowledge.
Mhm. So you had a resource.
Yeah, so I'm saying, yeah, and thing about it is so, but it was only because his limited circle of knowledge that he wasn't able to tell me that no, it is important to go to college because nobody in my family ever broke that barrier.
Mhm.
So now I'm being the only so then I gets out and I finally get another chance to get a scholarship to go to University of California, where now I'm starting to see things differently. You know what I'm saying? Now my whole world changed because now I'm standing around trees. What's more, trees that are so big, it takes 20 grown men to put their arms together to wrap around these sequoias.
It's changing your perspective of things.
Everything. Listen,
Mhm.
I'm taking boat rides Alcatraz, looking out toward the Golden Gate, and the sun is setting. And when the sun sets, like the whole ocean is on fire. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm going to Salt Lake City and seeing the green rivers of Salt Lake, the green Salt Lakes, right? I'm going down to the Grand Canyon. And I'm talking about being so scared that I think I'm gonna fall into the Grand Canyon. But I ain't never seen no marvels like this.
Right.
I ain't never seen the Rocky Mountains. But basketball had allowed me to travel and experience and see certain things. And I said that, wow, you know what I'm saying? Like, so this is what it's about. So now how do I come home and put this spirit right inside of my people, inside my community? And what I found out was that, so I went inside there with my books, you know, with my rulers and all this new stuff I learned. And
Do you feel like that's where your journey started at?
I think it started like,
I mean, as far as changing your mindset
yeah,
about
it was
things?
it was that exposure. It actually was, and I give a lot of credit to a young lady who, in high school, me being from the projects, being a basketball player, of course, now all the little county girls want you, right? You know how that goes. So now, right,
Mhm.
the good girls, or so-called good girls, right, out in the county, live in the big houses, they want the boy from the projects. So I was out there one day and they had dinner. They had roast beef, they had potatoes, they had corn, they had bread, and you know the mom said, "Hey, Daryl, sit down." And you know, I knew to wash my hands, I knew to say grace, like I knew all that stuff, right?
Mhm.
I knew, like not to chew the food in my mouth open. I knew all these things right here. Right. And then we started to eat, and you know, lady, I get comfortable. The lady say, "Well, go ahead, Daryl, help yourself. Eat much as you want." I take a couple pieces of roast beef, but when I get to the butter, I put butter on my 3 rolls. I put butter on my mashed potatoes. I put butter on my corn. I put butter on my string beans. I put so much pepper on my food, it like ants was running across my food, right? And the lady gasped and said, "Daryl, you're going to hurt yourself." And I'm telling you, I blurted out so loud that it scared everybody at the table. Uh-uh, everybody in my family eat like this. And the girl was so embarrassed, right? And I seen it, and I realized that what I had learned at home wasn't how these people right here live. Now, keep in mind,
Mhm.
these people got like 10 boxes of cereal up on the refrigerator. I ain't never seen
Mhm.
10 boxes of cereal not full. I'm talking about they got lunch meat and cheese inside the refrigerator, bread. They got like 3 different sitting places in their house. Like, I ain't never seen this. They got like little rooms where they can entertain guests at, the kids, the mom,
Mhm.
I ain't never seen nothing like that.
Mhm.
And then I went home that night. She gave me like a crystal glass. I went home that night and I put my glass down and put the Kool-Aid in there. And my mom and them was having the shrimp, the corn, the broccoli, you know what I'm saying, and the potatoes with all that
Mhm.
butter on there. And I'm telling you, the butter, and it was just drowning in butter. They were putting salt and pepper all over the place. I said, "Y'all gonna hurt yourself." And my mom and them said, "There you go. You over there with them bougie people. You gonna come back here and tell us how to eat? We've been eating like this for years."
Mhm.
So it made me realize, whoa, these people right here, like, I want success the way it looks like over here. And that's when I realized that even people who are close to me, sometimes they just don't know, you know, and that it's people who really could have your best interest, and they might not be the closest people to you. So I had to
Mhm.
break out of that cycle. And as I see, and as I look back and going to college, I look back and I say, like, a lot of my friends aren't actually graduating because I never graduated from high school. But what I did was when the guy offered me a scholarship, he said, "All you need is a GED." So I went there because I was always in honors. I went back and I took the GED and passed it like in the upper 90 percentile and got a scholarship to a 2-year college, graduated like top 3 in my class, went to the University of Delaware, graduated. I'm not University of California, graduated high in there as the most blacks, like one of the highest blacks graduated from there. And I went back and I said, "You know what, Wolf? You got to move some of your friends out of there, right? You can't be a person and you leave all your friends back and you're the only one succeeding."
Mhm.
I went back there, the darkness was there, right? So my thing is that, Wolf, you got to go to grad school. With all my friends in college, they talking about grad school. Wolf, you got to go to grad school. But how you get there? I know I can't ask my family. So I try to go hustle again. So by me leading them into the darkness, they're saying, Wolf, you got to continue being a drug dealer so that you can help us. And then they wound up giving me like 27 years,
Oh,
right?
wow.
150 keys of cocaine, uh, locked me up for 27 years. And I would just be getting out of jail um, a couple of years ago if they didn't change the crack cocaine law. But I came out stronger than ever. And inside there, I wrote a letter to one of my friends. I said that we created a lot of the confusion that's now inside of our community. And what we need to do is we need to organize around a common cause and get our community in a position so that we can have a pipeline to the university, right? A pipeline to success and not be that destructive figure. I said, I got some people in place who have some money and they're willing to help us because I was talking about social capital back in then, about 2006. We got to have the social capital. So as I came home and I got these jobs, I realized, here's my mission. But 2 years into that mission, I lost my son. I lost my son.
How
Um,
old was your son?
19, high school graduate, getting ready to go into the military. And that night that it happened, I was just came home from grad school, and I got a call. Wolfie, someone been shot, right? And I run over there, and I see him frantically. His son listening to me, so I'm trying. They're working on him frantically, and I'm seeing like all this stuff happening. And I go down to the hospital, and over the intercom, they say, "Code one, code blue, everybody to room 4." And everybody started running to room 4. And a couple minutes later, they said, code 4 off, code blue off. And I turned to his mother and I said, know that our baby is dead. And my friends and people who thought they was my well wisher again, just like my uncle, they said, well, Wolfie, let's go kill everybody in the family, right? Let's go kill his mom. Let's go kill his dad. Let's go kill the roaches, the rats, the bed bugs. Right? We're gonna kill everybody on the block, right? And of course, this time I'm not thinking rationally, right? The blood rushed to my head. I'm saying, let's go. And my son's mom pulled me to the side, and she said, "Let me tell you a story." I said, "I don't want to hear no damn story." She said, "No, no, 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 because this story right here might help you what you're getting ready to do." And she said that if you were on a train and you were the conductor, and if you turned left and you had 250 people on that train, and if you turn left, sure enough, you're going to run into a wall and die. Would you turn left? I said, that don't make no sense. He said, but what about you turn right and you only lost one person and you saved 249 people, including yourself? I said, of course I'll turn right, right? She said, well, know that your son has died. Now it's your job to go out there and save 249 young black men because you never want a family to feel how you're feeling today. She said, because we don't need no bloody revolution. We need a political, a social, an economic, right? And a cultural revolution. And why don't you go out there and be the spirit to that? She said, it's going to take a lot of sacrifice, but we need that voice inside of our community, that voice of strength, that voice of power to help lead us out of this darkness. And Wolfie, I believe that you're that person. And there's going to be a whole lot of people that's going to follow you. But know that with those victories of defeat, right, those cool tears of joy, there's going to be some hot tears of sorrow. Because there are going to be some people who just don't understand what you're trying to accomplish here. But that's not going to be a reason why we don't move on. And so I believe that I had to go through dropping out of school and then get back up on my feet to go do what I had to do. I believe that I had to experience, considering the phase of life we're dealing with now, where we're seeing a whole lot of black and brown men getting shot, that I had to experience that so somehow I can touch out and I can feel, right, some of these parents' pain. Because for a long time, I was doing this work. And I go to every shooting, every homicide since 2001, 2011, right? And I used to always go there and say, well, my organization is here to help you. How can I help you? And I walk them to the graveyard and I do a whole lot of stuff at the repast. And I always wondered that stuff helped. And it wasn't until it happened to me that I realized that when you have well-wishers, when you have people on your side talking, hey, you know, say all that stuff works. You see what I'm saying? And it brought me to the realization is that I need to be part of something to where that we can teach our people to control our narrative, right? So this is when I realized, because for a long time I was doing this work under what I call a grandmom grandpop approach. Whoopi go outside, grandmom's concerned. Every time I leave, she's worried, right? She's concerned. But she understands that Whoopi might have to sell a little rock. He might have to sell some Percocets and some Xannies, right? He might get locked up, he might come home. She knows that he even might die. But she understands that there are some decisions because of the structural inequity, the policy, practice, and the program that's embedded in my community. I got to make some tough decisions once I leave that door. And no matter what happened to me, grandma still loved me in the end. So she was concerned, she understood me, but she also loved me no matter what I did in the end, right? And that was our approach to attacking any kind of problem in our community. Then I met a guy named Dr. Yasser Payne who says that, we need to control our narrative. We need to put the science to some of the work that you're doing so that we can get the outcomes that we get, so that we can get the money, so now that we can employ more people. And he came up with this concept called street PAR. And PAR is an acronym, and it stands for Participatory Action Research. And it's where you actually get members of the community, right? So I want the girls who pop the perk and the guys who pop the perk, the people who take Xannies or sell Xannies. I want the girl who walks the street at night or the guy who walks the street at night. I want the mental health patients, right? I want all of them on my research team. Why? Because they have the lived experience. They got the connections in the community, right? And they know that they have done some stuff in their past that they're not proud of, and they're on a mission. So we need that sweat equity too, right? So the PAR project, the PAR model fit like that, because it's not the traditional research model where the researcher come from the University of Delaware, get the grant, write up what we should be asking, and then bring us along, like we're trophies or props. No, it's saying, hey, y'all sitting down at the table. You are not involved, you are participating, meaning that your decision counts, right? Your voice counts. So now, through that right there, we were able to work on a project on Southbridge in East Side. Then we had a second project over in the North Side and the West Side. But now we're part of a national project, a 5-city project, where we're looking at 5 different cities, but we're also part of another project where we're looking at 5 different distinct HBCUs. You know what I'm saying? So it have grown, but it have grown so much now that we're talking about we're still missing something. You know what it is, sis? It is we don't have champions of this work. So while wholeheartedly we want to do it for free, we want to get people on. What we realize is that the people who have the money to access to the resources, they're not actually funding things that are important to us. Well, I talked to a politician and I said, what are the top priorities in the city? They said mental health, the opioid epidemic, right? They said housing. They said under and unemployment, right? They said violence, and they said something else, right? But those were the top 5 things. And then they said, well, we got $100,000 to give you for your project. I said, $100,000, but you just told me that you got $64 million. I mean, $64 million, you don't give me $100,000 to something you say is a priority? So for a lot of people, right, they get $100,000 the first time seeing money, and they just take it and run with it, right? And I've been told that you always don't got to suck the bone. Sometimes it's all right to get some meat on it. So when you break that down, this is what they were telling me, that out of $1, they were going to take a penny, break that penny into 6 pieces, and give me one of the 6 pieces. So they weren't going to give me a whole penny out of $1. They were going to break the penny down and give me a piece of it. And I told them no thank you, because we got to get used to saying no thank you when people undervalue our skill set. Because no matter what they say, you are expert in your area. You're expert in where you believe at, right? And so we are now creating this pipeline so that when guys come out of jail, they coming out with a livable wage. At the end of the week, they still got money in their pocket, and they still got that sense of mission, right? Reaching back, pulling the next generation up. And I think that it's that kind of mindset right there that once we start telling people that studying Black and brown people is a billion-dollar business, billion-dollar business. And my thing is that how come we can't control our own research? How come that you and I can't write the grants and run the research and have the IRB protocols and all the money comes straight to us? Why do we need a middleman to control our money? Why do we need the University of Delaware? Why we need Dell State? Why we need University? We don't really need them, especially if you and I, right? Remember this. When people tell us to abandon our mission because of the rule, we never abandon the mission. We just change the damn rules. We don't have no time to be abandoning our mission. We got to change the rules, sis. And my thing is that, so what does that mean? It means that if you're a felon and they're not allowed you down the University of Delaware, it's our job to bring statistical analysis down to the street corners, down to 22nd and Pine, 8th and Pine, 10th and Bennett. It's our job to bring that knowledge that they block from us, right? Because they want you to think that research is not important. Oh, it's boring. All they talk about is regression. All they talk about latent class analysis, structural analysis. That's all they talk about. But in reality, right, there's nothing that happens inside of our community that doesn't involve some sort of research. So how come we can't capture that money right there and disperse it amongst our folks, right? And bring our folks up 1 or 2 steps on the ladder. And that's where we at now, man. And I really believe that we have had a lot of success. But of course, with the ARPA money, it's still not funded to success the way that I would like for it to be funded. But I believe that in order for us to be successful, we got to have 3 main things. We got to have the folks who are committed to the work, and that means that they got to have the lived experience, the sweat equity, and the social capital. But we also got to have some outcomes. We got to be able to measure our success, right? So we got to know a little bit about what it means to be a binary, a yes or no, or a Likert scale, highly unlikely, highly likely, right? We got to know these kind of things right there. We got to know what regression means, what's statistically significant. We got to know all these things right here. But equally important, we got to have champions of this world, people who have access to the resources.
So let me ask you a question.
Yes.
So what motivated you to want to go to college? Is it because nobody in your family went to college, or because you knew you had to do something different for change? Because a lot of brothers don't have that motivation or can't find that, you know what I mean, inside of them to say, I'm strong enough to do this, or I know I can do this.
Yeah. What really motivated me was that I always had great mentorship. Even when I was doing wrong, I had great mentorship. And the one thing that really set me out early on was that my grandmother used to do crossword puzzles, right? You know, she was a lady who couldn't read or write, you know, by traditional standards, meaning that she didn't graduate, she didn't even go to high school. She went there 1 year. She was from the South. But she could do the Sunday crossword time puzzle. That's hard as hell to do. But I'm saying, but she could do it, right? And so she always had my mind interested in complicated stuff like puzzles and stuff. So I grew up an inquisitive kid, and I was always good at like math and reading because I learned to read at an early age. So I never had a problem with school. But it really wasn't until I was at my the birth of my son, and I watched the birth too, right? And the baby came out, and the nurse gave it to me, and I fumbled it and almost dropped the baby in the labor room, and you know, and they took the baby from me and made me sit down. But it was the birth of him, and realized that I didn't want him to continue the cycle that I had went through. Meaning that I knew that I was a good basketball player. I knew I was fairly good in school, and I really wanted a different trajectory for him. So the motivation for me was, how do I move my mom up? How to move my girlfriend at the time to a different position in life, and more importantly, though, how do I change the trajectory of my son? So it really my son was the motivating factor, right? Go to school, go to school, go to school. And the irony of it is that I actually was going to school 9 months out of the year for the first 5 years of his life. And then the 6th year of his life, I actually got locked up trying to go to grad school. So I didn't spend a whole lot of time with him. And then he died like 2 years after I got out of jail. So even though I was trying to make all these moves for him, I really spent very little time, like really in his presence, and that still hurts. So that's why I still keep his grandson with me today, because he did leave me a little boy. Great little guy, straight A student, just like his dad, smart, witty, and so I spend as much time with him as possible, making sure that he never has to even go to see a prison. So they are my motivation.
So two key things that you said. You said you had mentorship and the motivation came from having your son and your grandson. So for some people, they don't have the mentorship. Some people don't have the male figures in their lives that decided to make a change. You know what I mean? Some people don't
Yeah.
have the grandmother that's there supporting them and things like that. So what advice do you have to the young brother that has nobody, that may be just alone out here?
I tell him to come hang with me. My doors are always open, right? He can always come up here at 813 East Tatnall Street, because we call a gang of brothers. And our motto is that we measure progress differently, right? So if you in school having trouble, we're not expecting you to go from a DF student to an AB student. But we're saying that we expect some progress, man. And right, we're going to hold you accountable, but we're not going to be so judgmental like my uncles were to me. My uncles grew up with dashikis on and Afro picks, and they wanted me to go to the park and beat on bongos, but it wasn't my thing, right? But they judged me on how they grew up. And I'm saying that these kids are growing up under gun politics. And I understand that right there, right? So I understand sometimes why some people don't like why kids carry guns. And I never encourage people to carry guns. But if a guy tell me that I carry a gun for protection because people are after me, like, I don't want to discount that fear in him. You see what I'm saying? So, but I'm also telling him that, hey, man, if you give us 6, 7 months under our mentorship, then I'm telling you that you can actually live something different, right? You can actually do something different. And so that's why our doors are always open. That's why part of that PAR family, I'm just not the only one. We got brother Dubar doing Game Changers. We got brother Contel doing his work. We got brother Coley Harris over there on the Maryland Avenue in Hidville doing the same type of work. So it's a gang of us. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just one person amongst a band of brothers who are just trying to make a difference. And they can come to us any time of night. Like, we answer phone call 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning if a brother's in danger or a young guy needs help. You know what I'm saying? We go to school, we go to graduation, we go to basketball games, we go to football games. We try to take them to different parts of the country so that they can see different things. Because there was also something that enlightened me and brightened my eyes up, as I said before. So I want them guys to see that it's a great big world outside of Southbridge or Wilmington, and Claymont, Delaware. Like, it's a whole good world. They do the same thing everywhere else.
I wanted to kind of give you a chance to introduce your programs, but we had a little bit of technical difficulties before we got started. So if I could introduce sisters and then introduce who you are, because we kind of got into the conversation without, letting the people know who we are and a little bit of background of where we come from. So talking about your programs and talking about the things that you offer to the community and things of that nature, I would like them to know who you are, where you're located, and things of that nature. And for me, for myself as well. So to backtrack a little bit, I like to introduce Sisters. So Sisters Supporting Sisters is a self-help group dedicated to the personal development of the women of the community, particularly Black and Brown women of the community. Our mission is to raise awareness for anxiety and depression relief. We have been able to accomplish this by hosting our weekly walkathon, our online support group, Sisters Grace, hosting intimate events for the community to relieve anxiety and depression. And we are currently developing several wellness programs. For the most part, we are just looking to provide a safe place for women to come heal, love, and grow together. My name is Tawana Gooden. I'm the Executive Director of Sisters Supporting Sisters and also a community healthcare worker who is concerned with public health. I have several partners, Shayna Starks, Shayna Beasley, and Cheriel Johnson. The purpose of our second annual speaker series is to provide the community with information that plague our community, create a dialogue moving forward, and provide them with resources to help us develop as a whole. Tonight's topic was raising Black men in today's society. As we know, the world is much different to live in growing up as a Black man, facing special challenges such as racial profiling, not knowing how to handle being stopped by the police, dealing with mental health and suffering in silence, hopelessness for the future, community violence, lack of opportunities, suppressing emotions and feelings, not having healthy coping skills, having to live in discomfort and feeling like when you step out of your home, you don't want to draw too much attention to yourself. These are things that ultimately concern the women that are raising Black men in today's society. Can you imagine feeling or the thought that a mother has when her child is leaving the home, not knowing if they'll return or if they'll step out into the world with the coping mechanisms to deal with the world who only views him as a threat. There are so many things we could focus on this call, and I like to make this just most beneficial for our men, boys, and the women who raised them. So I invited Mr. Chambers to speak with us. He's a perfect role model for a young brother looking to evolve into a respectable Black man. I'm just going to give a little bit of background about Mr. Daryl Chambers. He has an extensive background in addressing all of these issues. He's currently employed as a senior research associate at the University of Delaware's Center for Drug and Health Studies, holds a master's degree in criminology and a bachelor's in arts and sociology. Previously a member of Wilmington Hope Commission Street Outreach Program, co-program director on the Wilmington Participatory Action Research Project. He was appointed by the Governor Jack Markell to serve on the commission, on the Safety Commission, co-chair of the CDC, Community Advisor Council, recipient. This is just so impressive to me. So like I'm just steady reading this, but I'm just like proud of you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he's a recipient of the University of Delaware in 2016 Ratledge Family Award for the Outstanding Community Service, chair of the Council Corrections, and lastly, Mr. Daryl Chambers consults a project funded by RAND Corporation with the Court Innovation. All of that is just very impressive and well respected. So I just am honored to have you on the call tonight and giving us a chance to be able to hear some of your story, where you come from, your experiences, and things like that. So thank you for joining us, and we appreciate it.
It's always an honor to. It's always an honor to work with like-minded people. And the one thing that I learned from my past on the street is that I trust my gut. So it's very important that when I meet someone, that if I got that feeling that, hey, this is not the person to be around, this person right here got bad intentions, then I tend to stay away from, not saying that their trust can't be earned later on, but I remember the first time that I was able to introduce with you when you came out of your way to assist me in on something. I said, you know what, this right here is the kind of energy and the spirit that we need to move the dial and produce what I call healthy, strong, and vibrant communities. So real quick, y'all, my name is Daryl Wolfie Chambers. I'm known around the city as Wolfie. It's something that I hold on to because they seen Wolfie when he was the Tasmanian devil going around the city. So I want them seeing Wolfie now as I become the builder of everything that's positive. I'm currently the executive director of the Center for Structural Equity. And our underlying premises here at the Center for Structural Equity is this: that anywhere in the world that you find compounded structural inequality, or what we call compounded structural violence in the form of practices, programs, and policies, you're going to see violence. And I'm not just talking about the sexy violence that you hear about in the newspaper, the shootings and the homicide. I'm talking about child abuse, sexual assault, rapes, right? You're going to see these kind of things right here. But even to extend that argument, what we're really arguing now is that anywhere you see these compounded structural inequalities, you're going to find poor health outcomes, right? So I challenge anybody that if you go to a city and you see underperforming schools that we talked about earlier, where we have 10 to 12% of our kids reading, writing proficiency in third grade, if you see what we call trauma deserts, meaning that if you get shot in Wilmington, they transport you all the way down to Newark, right? A lot of our kids are bleeding out. We call those trauma deserts. If you see unemployment, underemployment, we did a research project on the north side and not the north side, on the South Bridge and east side, and we found out with the population that we were looking at, 18 to 35 Black and brown males, Black and brown females, 60%, as high as 60% of them were unemployed, right? So the first thing you learn in statistics is that anything where you see just things skewed the one way, there's something structural in nature about it, right? And then when you see stuff like overly aggressive criminal justice system, you're going to find high rates of violence. So now, if you just look at our city, if people are familiar with the city, if you look at Kirkwood Street, Tiffin Kirkwood, what you see over there, abandoned houses. You see overly aggressive criminal justice system. You see that the feeding pattern for the folks over there, it's a school that are failing. So right, you see these things, and these things are something real. So at the Center for Structural Equity, the question becomes, well, how do you alleviate some of that? And we say that it comes by creating quality opportunities, right? So for me, it's like teaching kids the power of controlling their narrative, right? I grew up in college as looking at a lot of Marx work, right? Called Marx work. And the one thing that I learned is that anywhere there's short supply and high demand, then the price is high, right? So short supply, but high demand. And I always use the example of Michael Jordan sneakers. If you have the last pair of sneakers that Michael Jordan wore, his last game, they're in short supply because it's only one. But the demand for them is high. What can you charge for that? Right? Get a couple $1 million for it because that's the value on it. And then I tell them that when I'm down at University of Delaware, the Ivory Walls of University of Delaware, and they're talking about young Black and brown men and women, you guys are not there. So there's a high demand and short supply. When I'm at the boardroom with the United Way or the Hope Commission, they're talking about young Black and brown men and women again. And once again, you're not there. When I'm at the governor's office, the mayor's office, Newcastle County Executive Office, once again, they're talking about you, young fella, but you're not there. So my thing is that it tells me that your voice is a commodity and it's in high demand and short supply. So I'm saying that why don't you come under my umbrella and let me show you how we can actually capitalize off that. And at the same time that you can provide some insight to help better your community, right? Because there's no better expert on what's going on with our youth than the youth. So how do we get them at the table? And how do we go there and train them in a way so that they're talking regressions, they're talking statistics, they're talking about T-table, no, right here, right? How do we get them there? And my thing is that we got to start them off early. How do we get them writing about the research project? How do we get them authors on these academic papers? At the same time, recognizing that you also got to have some grandmom and grandpa in you. You got to have that compassion. You got to have that empathy, right? Sympathy for your people, right? You got to have all these things right here. So you just can't be a scientist. You also got to realize that we're dealing with humans. And here at the Center for Structural Equity, what we do is that we bring them in. And as I said earlier, right, we measure change differently, but we bring them in and we take them how you are. We're going to make sure that you're in school getting good grades, even if it means that we got to drive to your school, talk to the teacher, talk to the principal, get your mom over there. We're going to make sure you do that right there. We're also going to make sure that you got some food in your stomach. A lot of kids, right, they don't want to admit when they're hungry, right? So you just can't say, hey, man, are you hungry? No, you just got to know that it's time to eat and you go feed the kids. And I said earlier, if I got a grant and the grant tell me I can't feed the kid, I'm going to feed the kid anyway, and I'll deal with the consequences later on. Because we're not going to sit around here just to satisfy our grant and our kids are hungry, but we can't feed the kid because the grant says so and we don't do it. That don't make sense to me. And like I said before, we're not going to change the mission. We're just going to change the damn rule. And that's what we do here at the Center for Structural Equity. We have a because we believe in evidence-based programming. So we have one evidence-based program that look at developing life skills, another one that looks at substance abuse. We got some that look at trauma, right? Something that, you know, the boogeyman word in our community, especially among strong Black and brown men. You know, as a father who had experienced trauma, it took me 5 years to even realize that I was facing trauma, you know, that I was depressed. You know, so I'm saying it's something that has been stigmatized against us for a lot of times, for a lot of years. So it's not an easy conversation to have with men over 21. So imagine a guy who's only 14, 15.
So do you think that you had healthy coping skills to express the way you was feeling, or you had to keep it all bottled up inside?
I think that society had conditioned me that I was supposed to take it as a man. You know, that I wasn't supposed to cry and I wasn't supposed to do all these kind of things. I wasn't even supposed to even talk about it. For a lot of times I was on the talking circuit and I was places and I was even afraid to mention it. You know what I'm saying? But at night, I'll be sitting down writing a paper. And I'll be writing that paper, and it might be 1 o'clock in the morning. When I come out of my days, it'd be 5 o'clock, and all I got on there is the date on the paper, but yet I haven't moved from the computer. You see what I'm saying? So this right here is when I realized that something is going wrong, and that you really need the help that you need. So I didn't have proper coping skills. It wasn't until someone told me that there's no shame in it, and that you go and see folks that could help you, right? And it's not about you not being a man. It's just that you need the help. If you don't get the help now, you're not going to help nobody else in the future.
Do you know of a threshold that we would be able to cross with our young brothers to help them feel more comfortable about opening up about the things that's wrong with them and the things that they're experiencing in their lives? Or is it just creating the environments and just having the genuine people in those environments?
Nah, it's really about trust, you know. So I read a lot in the academic world on how trust can be built and how trust can be transferred. I believe trust can be built and trust can be transferred because you can know somebody, and since I trust you, if that person come around enough consistently, then automatically that trust begin to transfer to the other person, right? So I believe trust can be earned, but I think that it's something about being consistent with them. And it's not about being sneaky either. It's not like trying to get them to trust you through some sort of sneaky way. It's really about just being there for them. And over time, just by building a genuine relationship with them, not lying to them, that eventually you'll be able to have those kind of conversations. And sometimes you got to put it in the first person, like, "Hey, man, this is me. This is what I did, and this is what I had to do." And I had a lot of breakthroughs by telling them, like, like I had a son that got killed. You know what I'm saying? And I had problems sleeping, and I lost a lot of weight, and I was unable to concentrate, and it made me separate from people that I love, right? Because I didn't want to ever love somebody where I love my son and then be disconnected from him, right? So I suffered from separation anxiety for a long time and still do. Even when I'm part of something like a movement or something and movement break up, I still feel some kind of way after it's all done. But I think that it really comes from just being constant in their lives, being truthful to them, right? And that right there doesn't mean like being a friend. Because some people think that being a friend means you agree with them all the time. Sometimes it means that you got to tell them that ain't right. What you're doing is wrong. You see what I'm saying? Because they recognize real.
And if you don't get them to that point, some things that they can do for self-help. I think something you might say would be like, do the research, read, educate yourself. I know I recommended to a close friend of mine the book The Spirit of a Man by Ian Levinson. And that book was amazing. It talks about spirituality, empowerment, just offers a message of self-knowledge and just being able to get the victories you need in life just by knowing who you are. So things of that nature,
Oh
I
yeah, yeah.
think it's
I would, Sean, I need to read that book. Yeah, because I
I
need some.
wanted to yeah, it's a great book. I also wanted to play this video, 3-minute video before we get off the call.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna share my screen real quick. Where? I can never find things. Is this it? Maybe it's here. I can't see. You know, I wear glasses. You got your glasses on. I wear glasses. Let me see if I can find it. This is not it. I don't want to record it in without me playing this video. Maybe I can go on YouTube and find it real quick. It's a poet called No. And here it is, right here. Glad I found it. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Can you hear the video? I can't hear you. You on mute.
I can see your home screen.
Who that? That's this.
This is Jihad.
So can you see? You can't see what I'm playing the video?
The
light in her house is nice. It's in my office.
So,
I'm surprised you can't see it. I see the plant.
no. You are viewing screens. You got to, because you didn't click on the, you click on your home screen. You got to let your home screen go down first. Unshare it and then share it again.
I don't know how to do all that stuff.
You just got to unshare it. You got to click on where you say share screen at on your thing.
Mm-hmm.
Unshare it,
Is it right here?
and then do it again. Now you put share it and then click on the video.
Oh, wait, here we go.
You see it?
Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, I can see it now.
Can you hear it?
Yes. No, you got it on. There you
Number
go.
1. This is terrible. I need some help. Oh, wait a minute. This is terrible. I cannot believe I just had it on here. Okay. This is it right here. So let's play it. Come on. Sorry.
Well, I don't know if you can mute yours because I can't hear her. You gotta unmute yourself, I think. What is her name?
Just a moment. So you couldn't hear it?
Mm-mm.
So why you ain't tell me? You got me playing that video. You got me playing that video.
Like a rod reading her lips. I'm gonna listen to it on my side.
Well, can you share the screen on your side?
Yeah, well, I'll do that. What's the name of it? What's the name of it again?
No, the poet. The poet.
No.
No, the poet.
Okay. No.
And it's called The Black Man.
No.
You don't know how to share your screen?
Yeah. I gotta get up first.
So why you say how you do that?
I know how to do it.
Cause I'm barely making it over here.
They done said all they can say about the man. They done all they can do to this man.
I can't see your screen.
Hopefully murderous
because you gotta give me the ability to share.
All right, stop it. You're doing bad.
Forget who he is.
Let me try one more time.
Okay. So I can hear it.
It's probably gonna end on this, but it's cool. Cause we Could do this again. Be more prepared. You see my screen?
Yes. I can
Okay.
see you.
Let me know if you can hear.
Okay. No,
You cannot hear.
no, it's your volume. Yeah, go inside where your mic is at.
Oh wait, I think I know what to do. Hold up. Here we go, right here. Now I found it, thanks to me.
Okay, okay. I don't have no problem with that.
Okay, here we go.
They done all they could do to this man. From crippling murderous chains to whipping widely, exposing bloody veins. But look at him. Oh, but look at him now. His scars are his pride, and he dare not hide them lest he forget who he is. He is the human form of an African god, and everything he got, beads of sweat his pores have shot. I look at him now and I say, wow, my God, how he is such a beautiful creation in this God-forsaken nation. You cast your marked splashed color across the skin after you sculpt each and every single line spread tight across his canvas, such that as he strides, muscles, shape-shift and skirts will easily lift because of his godly gift. And then he is proud. Proud all around, from raking fields to driving 18 truck wheels to counting Fortune 500 meals, working hard, that man. For the woman he loves, the children he raises, and the family he knows. I cannot seem to wrap my head around his head. It is an up from big, an extraordinary phenomenon of the man coined the black man. Must be why he's such a smart man, and now I'm his biggest fan. I watch him, you know. Muscles gleaming as he's busy with his back crack, brick lifting while the sun is on him kissing what I'd like to so desperately be licking. On his portrait chest, all my time I would invest, until we end with the fortune in my womb that bring us wealth that rivals Egypt's tomb. I escaped the trap set by the Columbus man. I refuse to hate this man. Even as he struggles in his home free land, I am going to love this man. I will not curse him because he don't have ice bling or rides with big rims. This is a man working in a system designed to be against his prosperous existence. He is doing the best he can with what he has. Can you understand that? I do. Now should you be as wise as to decide and say, you black man, I choose you, and you want to make it through. You better hold that man down, boo. Don't nobody say this will be a walk on the beach sand, but see, this is no ordinary man. Quite frankly, best you suit up. He's known to tear it up. Now don't go giving him a hard time because he's low on a shiny dime. He don't drink, thieve, and everything he got you know he give. So let's love him a little bit more and see then what's in store. Please, affirmations create a beautiful sensation and set a stone sturdy foundation. I mean, they done said all they can say about the man. They done all they could do to this man. That's my fam. And I'll be damned if they gonna make him nothing more than some form of spam. That man, that beautiful black man, I would give a pump stick across state lines to with him just have one night. All that for you, and you, and you, all that for the black man.
Man, that was powerful.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, I like her.
I like her too. So with that video, it's my personal prayer that every black man begins to heal and go on a quest to be reminded of who he is, where he comes from, that he's a king, he comes from royalty, and that, you know, we didn't just come from slavery. Before slavery, we were kings and queens. We ruled, we were empowered, we were strong, we were everything that we are striving to be today. So I think if you want to leave your contact information for our community and our young brothers to be able to contact you so you can get them on the right road and get things on track.
You want me to leave it in the chat? Or
You can just pretty much verbalize it.
okay, so my email address is dchamber@udl.edu. I'm located at 813 North Tapman Street. I usually open my doors about 8 o'clock in the morning a.m. 7 days a week. I'm also here on Sundays too, watching football, so you can come by and watch football. But the programming with the curriculum is Monday through Saturdays, and I close about 8 o'clock p.m. But if something comes, we gotta stay longer. We can stay longer too. You can find me on Instagram at structural equity, and on Facebook, same thing at structural equity. Hey man, it was a pleasure, and I really do appreciate you providing this platform for me to talk about some of the things that I'm doing, but more importantly, now give me some sort of vision so that I can be part of some of the stuff that you and your organization are doing.
Okay, here we go.
They done all they could do to this man. From crippling murderous chains to whipping widely, exposing bloody veins. But look at him. Oh, but look at him now. His scars are his pride, and he dare not hide them lest he forget who he is. He is the human form of an African god, and everything he got, beads of sweat his pores have shot. I look at him now and I say, wow, my God, how he is such a beautiful creation in this God-forsaken nation. You cast your malt-splashed color across the skin after you sculpt each and every single line spread tight across his canvas, such that as he strides, muscles, shape-shift, and skirts will easily lift because of his godly gift. And then he is proud all around, from raking fields to driving 18 truck wheels to counting Fortune 500 meals, working hard, that man. For the woman he loves, the children he raises, and the family he knows. I cannot seem to wrap my head around his head. It is an up from big, an extraordinary phenomenon of the man coined the black man. Must be why he's such a smart man, and now I'm his biggest fan. I watch him, you know. Muscles gleaming as he's busy with his back crack, brick lifting while the sun is on him, kissing what I'd like to so desperately be licking. On his portrait chest, all my time I would invest, until we end with the fortune in my womb that bring us wealth that rivals Egypt's tomb. I escaped the trap set by the Columbus man. I refuse to hate this man. Even as he struggles in his home free land, I am going to love this man. I will not curse him because he don't have ice bling or rides with big rims. This is a man working in a system designed to be against his prosperous existence. He is doing the best he can with what he has. Can you understand that? I do. Now should you be as wise as to decide and say, you black man, I choose you, and you want to make it through. You better hold that man down, boo. Don't nobody say this will be a walk on the beach, sand, but see, this is no ordinary man. Quite frankly, best you suit up. He's known to tear it up. Now don't go giving him a hard time because he's low on a shiny dime. He don't drink, thieve, and everything he got, you know he give. So let's love him a little bit more and see then what's in store. Please, affirmations create a beautiful sensation and set a stone sturdy foundation. I mean, they done said all they can say about the man. They done all they could do to this man. That's my fam. And I'll be damned if they gonna make him nothing more than some form of spam. That man, that beautiful black man, I would give a pump stick across state lines to with him just have one night. All that for you, and you, and you, all that for the black man.
Man, that was powerful.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, I like her.
I like her too. So with that video, it's my personal prayer that every black man begins to heal and go on a quest to be reminded of who he is, where he comes from, that he's a king, he comes from royalty, and that, you know, we didn't just come from slavery. Before slavery, we were kings and queens. We ruled, we were empowered, we were strong, we were everything that we are striving to be today. So I think if you want to leave your contact information for our community and our young brothers to be able to contact you so you can get them on the right road and get things on track.
You want me to leave it in the chat? Or
you can just pretty much verbalize it.
okay, so my email address is dchamber at udl.edu. I'm located at 813 North Tapman Street. I usually open my doors about 8 o'clock in the morning a.m. 7 days a week. I'm also here on Sundays too, watching football, so you can come by and watch football. But the programming with the curriculum is Monday through Saturdays, and I close about 8 o'clock p.m. But if something comes, we gotta stay longer. We can stay longer too. You can find me on Instagram at structural equity, and on Facebook, same thing, at structural equity. Hey man, it was a pleasure, and I really do appreciate you providing this platform for me to talk about some of the things that I'm doing, but more importantly, now give me some sort of vision so that I can be part of some of the stuff that you and your organization are doing.